Hello and good afternoon to Dr. Soon. In today's video, we shall be discussing about data analytics and visualization in the anime industry. Before we begin, I would like to introduce to you all the members of our group, Group J. Group J consists of 7 people. We have myself, Hasanal, Aiman, Tatiana, Fazlidin, Amirul, Izzah, and Amsha. Next, we shall begin the discussion of the application of data analytics in the anime industry.
What is anime industry? Anime is hand-drawn and computer-generated animation originating from Japan. Anime is particularly popular among teenagers from middle school to college. Being a part of massive SCGN, which stands for Anime, Comics, Game, and Novel industry, anime had a lot of connections with manga, light novels, and games. For this project, we have created a Shiny app with R to analyze different factors of the anime and how would those elements affect the popularity and ratings of particular animes.
Next, I will cover the problem statement as well as the objectives portion of our study. In recent years, the growth of the anime industry has exploded at an exponential rate. Anime has grown to include many different types, such as OVA and movies, and genres such as action and drama. These many options has led to some difficulty for the industry to understand viewer preferences and to know which anime will perform well and which will not. In an ideal world, the anime industry will be able to create animes that fit into the various genres and will perform well regardless of which studio is creating it. And this scenario can be achieved through the use of data analytics. We have 2 objectives for our study. The first objective is to identify the trends in anime since its creation. And the second objective is to determine the traits that anime studios can use to create a well-performing anime.
Next, I will focus on the methodology and tools used to extract and analyze data on anime industry. First, I will start off by discussing about the tools used in this project. The statistical software used is programming R language and built-in R packages. And then I will go into details about the process flow diagram of the task. The first phase is data collection, where the dataset is obtained from Kaggle and the dataset is based on the info collected from MyAnimeList, which is one of the biggest rating websites for animes. The datasets contains information on 2 major parts, which are the information about the anime and the statistics specific to MyAnimeList. The first part contain information about the title, date premiered, genre, type of the anime, and so on. The second part includes scores, number of audience, and some other data of the anime from MyAnimeList. After obtaining the dataset, R packages including dpylr and tidr is used to clean the data for later analysis. After cleaning the data, the dataset contains information of 8,265 animes with 16 features associated with each title. Following the stage of data cleaning, corresponding plots are created using ggplot2 package that implements the layered grammar of graphics that will help in translating information into a visual context for graphical representation of the data. Next, on the model building phase, Shiny related packages such as Shiny, Shiny Dashboard, and Shiny Widgets are used to create the Shiny apps, add interactive features, and deploy onto the web. And for the last stage, they are using machine learning to deploy a model with enhanced algorithms performance as they are exposed to more data over time, which then enable the system to learn from the data, identify patterns, and make decisions with minimal human intervention.
Hello, my name is Amsha bin Khairul, and today I will be talking about the analysis of anime industry based on types of anime. In the clean dataset, there are 4 types of anime: TV, OVA, movie, and music. OVA is original video animation. TV refers to the anime that is aired on television, mostly in Japan, and also on the internet. OVA means a bonus track of TV anime where each TV anime typically have one or more OVAs. OVA serve as the connection between two seasons or simply an addition to the regular TV anime content. TV and OVA count up more than 80% of all the animes in the dataset, and the percentage of them are quite similar. Movie type made up 40% and music type fills the remaining 2%. Next, we move on to the plot of type of anime versus scores. As music type is quite rare and is usually not the type of anime that anime producers would like to consider, we will omit it for the analysis. You could see that the distribution of scores for movies and TVs are quite similar to the two density curve overlap extensively. OVA, on the other hand, has an average that is below the other two types. The calculated sample average of animes of type TV and movie only differ by 0.01, and statistical tests confirm the equality of these two measures. Finally, we move on to box plot of type of anime. The above plot demonstrates the difference of audience for each type of anime. We could see that the TV anime enjoyed the greatest popularity among these two types, and the OVA type has the least popular. Statistical tests are performed, and we accept the hypothesis that the difference of audience exists concerning different types of anime. In a nutshell, if anime producer wants to pick an anime type, the safest type to pick is the TV anime because it enjoys the greatest popularity and the scores of the TV anime are not bad. Another practical reason is that movie anime takes much longer time to make, and many things thus become much more unpredictable. Box office for instance. With that, thank you.
Analysis based on the rating of the anime. Similar to movies, animes have been assigned some ratings, ranging from G to RX. When the anime is aired in Japan, different ratings of the anime would possibly result in different time frame that anime could be played on TV. The ratings of animes in Japan are more general, while the ones in my anime list tend to be specific. The following table provides some summary statistics with removal of outliners. We could observe that animes that are rated R enjoys the highest popularity, and the box plot confirms this. Box plot of rating animes. Box plot of number of audience versus different ratings of anime. The major reason would be that some R-rated animes, this note Attack on Titans for example, enjoy surprisingly high popularity around the world. In reality though, PG-13 animes are still the mainstream, counts up nearly half of the animes. A piece of advice to the anime producer would be that it's safe to make PG-13 animes since its number of audience and the scores of their rating are above average. Nevertheless, it's always worthwhile to try to make an R-rated anime which would possibly attract more audience around the world and lead to great economic benefits.
Hi, so my name is Daniel, and today I'll be talking about analysis of the anime industry based on the anime studios. So there are many anime studios within the industry. Just like how the Hollywood industry have different studios who make different movies, anime also works the same way, which we have a lot of different studios who make different famous animes. For example, one of few famous studios includes Studio Ghibli, which the studio that made an anime called Spirited Away, which, fun fact, the only anime that has won an Oscar before, or like the TV Asahi Studio, which the studio that made our childhood anime like Doraemon, or like a studio called Toei, who made the famous One Piece and Dragon Ball series, and so forth. So many new studios appear each year. So in this analysis, we'll compare anime studios and we will focus on the studios that make the most anime per year. So the diagram above shows the number of animes made per year from the top 10 studios. So just as a reminder that all the data here were taken from my anime list website. So the above bar plot presents the average number of animes made by anime studios per year. This big studio made at least one anime per season and 2 to 3 per season for the top 5 studios. Please keep in mind that the season here referring to the 4 seasons of temperate climate, which is the spring, summer, autumn, and winter. So the bar plot follows the average score of the anime made by these studios. Then moving on, the diagram below show the average scores of animes for top 10 studios. From the plot, we could see that in general, the score doesn't differ too much, though some studios like DLE has comparatively low score when compared to others. The anime made by big studio generally receive higher than average score due to their resources and capability to make good quality of anime. Then finally, let's take a look on the average number of audience of anime made by the top 10 studios. By looking at the above bar plot, we can see that the average audience differ quite a lot among these studios. The average audience of all animes collected is close to 40,000 and 4 out of 10 studios in the plot failed to reach that. Though this may not have a direct link to the economic benefit, Sunrise profits quite a lot from selling Gundam models, for example. It is still an indicator that reminds the studio to keep its brand value. In other words, it suggests that the studio may not make much money by making more anime each year. The key point would be to pick a good stories and make great animes each time. So yeah, with that I rest my case. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Iza and I'll continue with the analysis based on the anime genre. So just like any other movies and dramas, anime also have their own genres too. If you look through the anime list, you will find at least 47 anime genres. However, we will only be looking at the top 10 anime genres today. Let's check it out. So, by looking at the histogram right now, the average scores of the top 10 anime genre is not really different from each other, which is like they have less than 0.5 differences in each pair. However, does the scores match with the average number of audience? Well, let's see the next slide, shall we? In this histogram, we can see that there are quite big differences in the average number of audience for the top 10 anime genres. So, as we can see from the histogram, Supernatural receives the highest number of audiences, while sci-fi received the least number of audiences. So supernatural animes such as Death Note and Another received quite high from the audience. Therefore, it shows that the population would prefer to watch supernatural, school, and romance-based anime instead of comedy, sci-fi, and also adventure-based anime. Therefore, it is much safer to produce and market the genre that receives highest number of watch. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Now, I will be covering the analysis based on the year the anime was made. Anime has been around for a long time, with the first full-length anime called Momotaro Sacred Sailors being released all the way back in 1945. Since then, we have had more than 7 decades of anime, with better and better animes being released each year. Some enthusiasts even consider the 1980s to be the golden age of anime, but it also cannot be denied that some of the more recent animes such as Jujutsu Kaisen, which was released back in 2020, has also performed amazingly well in an ever-competitive environment. The plot above shows the number of anime released each year since 1945 to the end of the 2010s. It is seen that anime growth was initially slow, with less than 50 anime released each year from 1945 to around 1970. But since then, the release count has grown massively, all the way to more than 400 anime being released per year. This is exceptional growth and just shows how much the industry has grown over the years. This next plot shows the average score for an anime made in each year. As you can see, the range of the average score is between 5.75 to 7.25 for all the anime. This suggests that most anime has above average performance. The plot also shows that the average score rises year on year with two notable peaks in the 1980s and the 2010s, with a large drop in average scores in the 1990s. This further bolsters the idea that the 1980s were truly the golden age of anime, with the 2010s only slightly outperforming this era. This plot then shows the average audience watching times for every anime made in each year. It is seen in this plot that the audience watch times for anime rises year on year and rises at a rapid rate since the 1980s. This correlates to the ever-increasing number of anime being released each year. The audience gradually increases, and the era of the internet would account for this, as more and more people now have easier access to anime than ever before. However, even with much more anime being released each year, this does not translate well to the average score of each anime, as well as the audience watching times, as is shown by the watching times decreasing heavily after the 2010s, as well as the average score decreasing heavily after the 2010s. This implies that anime creators should focus more on quality rather than quantity to ensure that the anime release will perform the best that it can.
Now for conclusion, the takeaways of each section are summarized as follows, and the takeaways could possibly help people in the anime industry when they want to decide upon what kind of anime they would like to make. The safest type to pick is the TV anime type. Movie type animes are worth trying to provide adequate time and budget. Next, manga and light novels are safer sources to be chosen when making an anime. Original anime are risky in terms of the score and the number of audience. Then when it comes to the rating, PG-13 animes is the mainstream and it is recommended when picking a specific rating. R-rated animes are more likely to be a great hit around the world and are worthwhile to try to make one. Then for the studio, different anime studio can differ a lot in terms of the average number of audience. Making more animes each year may not help the anime studio make more money. More data would be needed to determine whether producing anime for certain genre could lead to a profit. The general advice for anime producer is try to make animes that fall in the school, romance and supernatural genre. Also, it would be good to avoid comedy/action anime as the market is saturated with these two genres. With that, I rest my case. Well, that marks the end of our video. Thank you for those who are watching, and we hope you guys gain some benefits by watching our videos.